with today's video, and if you've been a follower of my channel for a while, you might have guessed what is happening here. But today I am back with my popular series of Scrap Your Scraps, and I'm back because my scraps are taking over my scrap room. They are taking over and I need to do something about it, and I love playing with my scraps and I know how much you guys love these videos, so I'm back. If you haven't been on my channel for a while, or if you haven't been a subscriber for a while, this might be your first video, but basically what I do is every Sunday, or I'm gonna shoot for every Sunday, I post a video where I use my scraps. And you can see here I have this metal tin and it has all my scraps in it. And basically, as I'm scrapbooking, if I have a piece that's a little larger that I think that I can still use, I just throw it in here. Now, before I went on a little hiatus, is that the right word, hiatus? From my Scrap Your Scraps series, this was all the scraps I had. I wouldn't let my scraps get higher than this bin, and I was committed to that. But you'll notice I have another bag here, and it's because my scraps are taking over. I mean, there's way too many. I also have this bag here full of scraps, and these are the bigger pieces. So I wanted to get back into this series because I love playing with my scraps, and also help bring down my scrap stash so that it can once again fit into one container, because I really don't like to have too much stuff hanging around in my scrap room. As you know, like I've talked about it in the past, is really not that big, so I want to keep my scraps to like not a lot of space. So I'm gonna leave a link below if you want to go check out the rest of my Scrap Your Scraps videos. Otherwise, I'll get right into this, and I want to encourage you to check back next Sunday for another Scrap Your Scraps video, or another way to use up your scrap stash. And if you don't keep scraps, don't feel like you can't play along. You totally can. Grab a paper pad, grab some papers that you have in your stash that you want to play with, and I hope that I can inspire you to have some fun. So today, for my Scrap Your Scraps videos, I'm going to show you 2 ways to use scraps and a border punch. Now, if you have more than one border punch, feel free to mix and match or just use one. I have this border punch. Just hold it up so you guys can see. And it comes from Martha Stewart, and I love it. One of the reasons I love it so much is it looks like a doily, and I love doilies. So I purchased this one, and it's like, I love it so much, but I want to use it more often. So grab a border punch or more than one, grab your scraps, and come and play along. So for today's layouts, you're going to need a whole bunch of strips of paper, and they can be any sizes. So I used a lot of large ones that are like 12 by 12 strips. You know, when you cut off like 2 inches of a 12 by 12 sheet and you've got that and you're like, what do I do with that? But I'm also going to use some smaller pieces like this one. So you want to just punch all the way along in a line, and if you don't have a border punch, or if you don't know how to use this, I'm going to show you how. Basically, you push the paper all the way in, and you want to go to about halfway in the middle border punch place and punch down. Then what you're going to do is you're going to see that the design is on part of it. So you're going to move it over, and you're going to line it up with the design over here to know where to punch next. So as you can see, I'm lining it up there, pushing it all the way in, and once I have it all the way lined up with the design on the punch and it's all the way pushed into the other side, I'm gonna punch it again. And that will make sure that the border is properly punched all the way along. Now, there are different types of border punches that are a little different than this. This is just the one that I have, and I know a lot of them follow this similar style where you move it along to and line it up and then punch again. And then you'll have that design all the way along, and it'll match up perfectly. And then you can just get rid of those little pieces that are left. So depending on which one of the layouts you want to follow along with or be inspired with, you're going to want to punch out a ton of these. So I already punched out a bunch of them, and I have more. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two different ways to lay these on your pages. So one option is to just take the papers and to just lay them flat on top of each other like this and glue them down to your page. So you'll see what that looks like there. And then you would just take your paper. So for example, if I want to use this white one, and I'm going to start at the bottom just like this, glue it down. Now I'm not going to use that whole piece. So what I would do is maybe cut it so it's about an inch, inch and a half, and then I can use that piece too. And then I'm just going to start down here, glue it down, then glue the next piece on top, and overlap them going all the way up along the page. So that's one option. And you can see that I've already done that on here, and I did it off screen because it took me a little while. But just flip this over so you guys can see. And isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's so pretty. So I punched out all these strips for my scraps from this box and from the bag. And then I just started at the bottom of the page and I just started gluing them down, and I used my hot glue gun, and I just put a strip of glue and then put the next piece on, and I layered it all the way up to the top. And then for the one at the top, I made sure that I had like a strip, and I wanted it to be a solid color, so I went with a 12 by 12 strip and cut it to an inch and a half, and then did the design and then glued it down because I wanted one solid color up here. But you could go mix and match too. So you'll notice here I have some pieces that are the full 12 by 12. I have some pieces like this red piece here, which doesn't go all the way across. It's only maybe like 8 inches. I have some that do go all the way across. I have some that are smaller, like only 3 inches here, or 4 inches, or some that are just 5. And I've layered them up, and I wasn't perfect about where, like how far apart I put them down. I literally just put them all down on the page, and I love it. And it's such a fun way to use all your scraps and to get really good use out of your border punch. So I'm going to make one layout with this, and I have another one to show you. So if you want to add a little extra dimension, what you can do is you can run your fingers underneath each strip of paper and just crinkle it up just a tiny bit, like bringing it up, and it'll just add a little bit more dimension to your page. Now, this did take some time punching all of this out. So what I did was I sat in front of the TV and I watched a movie, and I just grabbed strips of paper and punched them out using the border punch, and I love the way that it worked out. So, and I like adding the extra dimension by running my fingers underneath, but that's totally not necessary. What you can do is just leave it flat too. But I just like that it causes just a little more, don't know if you guys can see that, just a little more definition when you bring it up just a little bit. And I'm not bringing it up a ton, I'm just bringing it up a little bit. So, and this is totally inspired by a pin I've had on Pinterest for a long time. Paige Evans did a page where she had used like 10 different border punches and had a design that came up about halfway up the page. And I really love that. So I wanted to try and make it my own. So I've done it here where I've made it my own by going all the way up the page and just using one border punch, and also by using my scraps. So yeah, and I know it's a busy background, but I'm going to show you some tips for doing the photo and the layering on top, which will still bring attention to your photo. And I absolutely love the way this page works out. So okay, so that's the first option, is to just keep it flat and go all the way up the page. Another way you can use those border strips is once you've punched them all out, take them and make like an accordion almost with them. And it does not need to be perfect. Actually, it's better if it's not perfect, and just crinkle them up like this. And this is definitely going to cause your page to have a lot more definition, but it's super fun. So you're just going to take all of those strips that you've made, and you're just going to accordion them or crinkle them up like this, and then you're going to glue them onto your page on top of one another, all crinkled up. So let me show you what I mean. If you're going to use this paper, you would just start at the bottom and start gluing the strips on top of each other, leaving them really crinkly. So I did that again, and I did it off screen just to save some time. And this is what it looks like. And just look at all that definition. It's so fun. I wish you guys could see it. I think it's better in person than it is on camera. But I only went up about 6 inches, so I just drew a line at the 6 inch, and then I just brought the strips up there. And it's got so much definition because all of those papers are all crinkled up. And again, I didn't worry too much about like evenly spacing them out or anything. I just went with the colors that I had punched out and layered them on top. So a couple tips is go with what feels right for you, whether you want to go with it when it's flat or whether you want to go with it when it's more dimensional. And you don't have to do the whole page. You can do half a page, or you could do this design as a whole page, or this design is only half a page. So go with what works for you. I stuck mostly with similar colors. And I think that's mostly because the scraps in my scrap bins are all from my favorite papers, which are all mostly the same colors. But there is a strip of paper here, which you can see, and it had like reds, pinks, greens, and like a little bit of mint in there. And so then I sort of used that for my color scheme and tried to pick papers that I thought would look good. And I mixed in some black and white so that it would have some accents as well. And I even threw some orange in there, which I'm not a super big orange fan, but I actually like it in small doses, and I think it looks really pretty there. So you can mix the colors like I have and just go crazy with your colors. If that's not you, don't worry. Maybe pull out all the pink papers that you have that are scraps, or go with a paper pad that you know will match and will go well together, and do it like that. So that's that. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do 2 layouts on screen and do the processes for them so you guys can see how I've created the pages and how I sort of take this idea and make it my own. And I'm going to speed you up and do voiceover for that just because it's easier for me than trying to talk while I move. But anyways, I'm really excited to be back with my Scrap Your Scrap series, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy it as well. And if you decide to make a layout inspired by one of my pages or one of my ideas, I would love to see it. So you can either leave a link below or use the hashtag #ScrapYourScraps on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and hopefully I'll be able to find it. And you can check out my blog for more details or my Instagram account for more photos. Okay guys, I'll see you in a moment.
So I'm going to begin by working with this one that goes all the way up the page. And I have one 4x4 photo of myself and my friend Sophie. Hi Sophie. I actually met Sophie online, I think at Studio Calico. And then we followed each other on Instagram. And then I had posted on Instagram that I was coming to Winnipeg for work, and she was like, hey, do you want to get together? And I was like, okay. So we met up and we had fun. We went for lunch and talked, and oh, it was so nice to make a scrappy friend. So, and she is such a sweetheart. She's so kind. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to layer this photo on top of some tissue paper. And this is one tip I have to help you if you have like a really busy background. One of the ways that you can really make your photo stand out on top of the busy background is to use a mat of some kind, and use one that's either darker or lighter than the layers or the paper underneath. So I went with white here because it's lighter than the papers underneath. And also the black is high contrast, so it draws your attention into the photo. And because the background is so busy, the photos actually becomes the highlight because all of that sort of fades into the background. So I also grabbed a white doily that I had in my stash, which I'm not sure where it came from, maybe Studio Calico, cut it in half and layered that under the ripped up tissue paper. And I'm going to be using some of the items from the Felicity Jane Susie kit to help me with my layout here. Like that black and white polka dot tissue paper that was in the packaging of my Felicity Jane kit. And one of the sheets that came in the Susie kit was a cut apart sheet, and it had this 3x4 cut apart sheet with a pink heart on it, and I decided to use it for my journaling. So I added a faux stitching line around the edge of that card just for fun, and then I'm just using a black pen. I think it's 01, like 0.01. And I'm just adding my journaling about how I made a friend and how she was super sweet. Starbucks had like really messed up our order, and I had posted a photo on Instagram about how our order had like these ridiculous names on it. So Sophie is actually this super talented baker, and she decorates these amazing cookies. I'm going to leave a link for her Instagram below so you guys can go check it out. And so she made my mom and I these like cookies with our names on them, and it was so sweet. And so I'm just documenting that there on that card, and then I'm going to add some score tape and just layer that to the side of the photo. Now I wanted to add a title, and I thought it would be fun to use these wood veneer letters for my title, and I decided my title would be New Friend, and I felt like that was appropriate, so I just stuck those. I'm just going through the letters to find the ones that I need, and there was also a cute little wood veneer asterisk, so I grabbed that out too, and I figured I would use that as well, just to bring a little more of the wood veneer into it. Now I moved around the letters a little bit, trying to decide where to put them, and in the end I decided that I wanted them all to be at the bottom of the photo there, New Friend. And then the asterisks I'm going to put beside the letter N. And I'm just going to use a little bit of my Ranger Multi-Matte Medium Glue to glue down those letters. And the really awesome thing about this glue is that when it dries clear so that you can't see it anymore. And it's archivally safe, I think, so it should be okay to glue those letters like right onto the photo. And I feel like for this layout, it's really great to keep all of the embellishments and journaling and the title clustered together, like right near the photo, because the background is so busy that having everything in like one central location really draws your attention in. So your eyes are drawn to the photo, and then you're drawn to the journaling and the title because it's right there. So I wanted to add the date, so I just grabbed this white tag, stuck the date on it with some black ink, and then I'm just going to keep the embellishments really simple. I grabbed this black and white bow from the Susie kit, and also some enamel dots, and these are from Pebbles, and I just used a variety of colors and just layered them on, and I picked the colors based on what was in the layout, and using similar colors really helps simplify it. Okay, on to the second layout. So this is a little bit of a marathon here. For this layout, I have another 4x4 photo, and this is a selfie that I took of myself and my dog, whose name is Bernie, and I love that puppy so much. And then I just wanted to layer some papers behind him, and again I'm going with high contrast colors, so black and white and gray, just so it's a little bit different than the busy border punch pieces, and it'll draw your attention up to the photo. And I'm just using some paper from the 7 Paper Baxter collection, which I don't know if it's available anymore, but you can probably find it online. Maybe Simon Says Stamp has it or something. And I just added 3 pieces of it and stuck those underneath the photo. And I just feel like it draws your attention up to the photo because it's a different color than the colorfulness of the background. And then I wanted to just add a little bit more, so I grabbed a glassine bag and I stuck that underneath the photo too. And then one of the things that was sort of bothering me about all the border punches was that there was this yellow border punch piece, and yellow is one of those colors that immediately draws your attention to it. So I wanted to bring some yellow up to where Bernie and I were so that there would be more yellow there, so your eye would first go there. So I stuck this yellow doily that came in the Felicity Jane kit underneath the photo, like cut it in half and stuck it there. And then I glued the photo and the cluster down to the right hand side, and I feel like because there's more yellow there, your eye is drawn into there, and because the yellow is on either side of the photo, it actually draws your attention in, so your eyes go immediately there because of the yellow. And then because the photo is like right between that, it's like your eyes bounce back and forth between that yellow. I don't know, that's sort of a random thought for today. And maybe that'll give you some ideas of how to like use busy backgrounds, is use high contrast colors and colors that draw your attention, like yellow, to draw your attention to where the photo is. And then I use these white puffy letter stickers that came in the kit to make my title, which was Best Bud. And then I'm just going to do my journaling underneath that, just with some, a black pen. I think it's a Project Life pen. And I'm just talking about how much I love my dog Bernie and how adorable he is, and how I love that he sticks his tongue out. And I've totally scrapbooked this photo before. I did it in a mini album that I did about Bernie, but I also wanted to include it in my Project Life and scrapbook album for 2015, so that's why I'm scrapbooking it again. And I just love the photo so much I feel like it deserves a full page. And I think it's super cute with the background and everything on the page. And I'm actually really happy with the way that this turns out. I think it looks super cute. So once I'm done the journaling, and I just did the hand journaling, I'm just going to draw some sketchy lines underneath all of those little lines of text. And now I'm going to add some embellishments. So I just was going through the Felicity Jane Susie kit to see what other embellishments I might be able to find and might be able to use. And there were two cute little flares. One says like remember this, and the other one says I think today. And I decided to glue one down in the bottom left hand corner, as well as some buttons. I just grabbed some pink ones that were in my stash. And then I felt like it needed something on the opposite corner, so I also stuck two bows, and then I'm going to grab another one of those flares and stick that there as well, just because I felt like it balanced it better to have like 3 and 3 on either side of the photo. And that's it. That's the layout. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out, and I'm just showing you the two pages now, and I hope that you guys learned a lot today and enjoyed this Scrap Your Scraps video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you will pull out your border punches and your scraps and have some fun playing, using up your stash. Hope you guys have a lovely day. Thanks for joining me. Bye!